Inventory item records are maintained not only to store prices, costs, and physical information, but also allow for defining specialized sales and purchase order preferences and tracking, and exploring historical sales, purchases, and other transactions. Information for items is organized and displayed on many separate tabs, and at the top of the window regardless of which tab is open. The bottom shows the quantity on hand and committed to outstanding transactions. Some information can be prevented from editing or even being seen by the user, depending on user security settings. The active status on items allows sales and purchase order entry. You can place items on hold to prevent including this item on orders, or set to inactive to also prevent new orders and also hide them from item lists with a user security setting. The Details tab displays general information, including the usual selling price and the cost of purchasing, size and weight, and the storage location in the warehouse. You can also specify the primary vendor from where you typically purchase the item, see the last time that this item was purchased, and set values that may affect how much quantity to order. The collection of general ledger accounts used when selling or purchasing this item are assigned from the associated sales department code. If you don't set a sales department, then these accounts come from those configured in Company Settings Special Accounts. This code can be set specifically for this item, or also linked from the product group code to ensure accounting is done consistently for all items that belong to this group. And optionally, if this item is out of stock when a sales order is made, you can choose to assign an alternate item number to take its place, if you choose to do so during order entry. There are many different ways an inventory item can be configured that affects how items are purchased, sold, and tracked, using the inventory type setting. Items with the normal type do not activate any other special settings within items or transactions. Raw material items function essentially the same as normal items, and would use this value if you want to be able to filter or sort them separately on lists. Non-physical items are for sales not stored in inventory, such as labor, services, or stock for which you do not track quantity, and these also function similarly to normal items. You'll want to assign a sales department where the inventory ledger account is replaced with some expense account. Otherwise, you'll need to post a journal entry to correct sales transactions. A manufactured item is produced rather than purchased. These items use a Bill of Materials tab to specify the raw material items consumed when this item is built, either from here or from the optional Production Manager module. All of these items support an Accessories tab, where you can define additional items to automatically be sold alongside this item when added to a sales order. A kitted item represents a collection of other inventory items defined on the Kit Components tab, which can be modified when added to a sales order. A macro item isn't technically an item at all, but a code that represents one or more inventory items defined on the Macro Substitutions tab that are instead added to sales or purchase orders when the macro item is selected. This can also be useful if an item is discontinued, and the replacement is set as the macro substitution. Items can be configured to store either serial numbers for each individual quantity on hand, or lot numbers assigned to groups of quantities, if you enable this functionality in Company Settings. With serialized inventory, this enables the Serial Numbers tab, from which you can see the list of numbers for received items, and the transactions linked to the serial numbers, including only those that are highlighted in the serial number list. Lot numbers work somewhat similarly, but because multiple quantity can be within a single lot, you also need to specify in what order lots are used when sold or consumed. The Lot Numbers tab not only displays the numbers and related transactions, but also allows you to set expiry dates for each lot, and trace all transactions in an inquiry screen or report. The Prices and Units tab has a place to enter additional units of measure and their conversion factors, a sign which is used for stocking the item, and which are used by default when selling or purchasing by highlighting the unit and clicking the button to set it. The pricing area lists up to 20 different price levels you can use for assigning to customers if you maintain customer levels. You can edit the selling price for alternate units of measure, say for giving a price break, and also reserve levels for different currencies if you sell at a price other than simple exchange rate conversion. Determine which sales tax jurisdictions apply to this item, and whether there are any tax rebates available in particular provinces. If there are levies included with item sales, such as container deposits or eco fees, you can assign a levy code that will be included by default when adding the item to a sales order. In addition to the price levels here, you can also configure specific pricing from the Price Matrix tab. You can set special pricing for this item for a certain customer or customer group, or all customers, perhaps only applicable when sold within a given date range, and with multiple price breaks available based on the quantity sold. In a similar way for item costs, the Vendor Prices tab is a place to configure what the costs are if you can purchase this item for multiple vendors, or if a vendor is offering a different price for purchases within a given date range, or when a minimum quantity is bought. The Images tab allows you to display one or more pictures related to the item, for user reference when viewing the item, such as to see what images are included for this item on your website. The UPCs tab allows you to create codes for any unit of measure for the purpose of scanning barcodes when editing various transactions to either add or process the item. The Communications tab allows you to store notes regarding this item, which you can use to either alert users about a particular status or to attach files or website links appropriate for this item. And if there is any information you want to store on items that Spire doesn't already include, on the User Define tab, you can create new fields on one or more tabs for data of specialized interest to your company. In addition to item information, you can also see outstanding and historical purchase orders and sales orders where this item exists. The Movement tab lists all transactions that contain this item, which you can filter or sort in various ways, or print reports. The Receipts tab has similar usage, but lists only those transactions when items are added to your inventory, which also is used if inventory company settings is set to use the FIFO costing method for items to determine cost of sales. From any transaction tab, you can double-click any of them to drill down and open the transaction screen. From the list of inventory items, you can inquire, report on, or create transactions for multiple items at a time. The Movement tab shows the same activity information as when editing an item, with the ability to include many items in your filter or search. The Inventory tab allows you to highlight a selection of items, either consecutive or not, and quickly create a transaction to include these items. Or print labels for all these items, either for every unit quantity on hand to affix to items, or single labels for each item, perhaps to use for warehouse bins or shelves. And for a selection of items that you want to make identical changes, instead of having to use the import procedure, you can instead click the Edit button to invoke the Group Edit Inventory window. From here, certain settings or default values can be set by clicking the associated checkbox and identifying the new value. Then this new value can be applied to all of the selected inventory. If you would like more information about Spire Accounting, access the link in the description below to our homepage. Read the online manual help for additional assistance. Watch more videos from this playlist. And subscribe to the Spire YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.